Absolute cinema. Journal with which, if you're not watching this show, please stop what you're doing right now. You can even pause this video. Go watch this show. This show has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best show of the winter season, hands down. If it keeps at this pace, if it keeps doing what it's doing right now, within its first 2 episodes, this show has had me nearly crying so many times. It is hitting me with so much emotion around loneliness, grieving, regret, all this stuff just swarming at my face, and it's getting the tears. It's getting the tears out of me. The directing that they're doing so far is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of the portrayal of what the characters are going through is so beautifully portrayed. You have the music of Kensuke Ushio just hitting me in the gut with those chords, just bam, bam. If you're not feeling emotion, you're going to feel it now. He's always been so fantastic of making you really feel the music. Like it hits you in the pit of your stomach. It ruptures your heart. It's grabbing you and making you feel emotions. I'm loving every bit about this show so far. And I think, again, if it continues to go down this route, this could be one of my favorite shows of all time. Please, please keep at this. But anyways, I watched the first 2 episodes of it. Like I said, absolutely loving it. So let's just get into what is it about. The series opens up with an author named Makio Kodai. And at some point, she finds out that her sister has died in a car accident. Now, she never really liked her sister, actually hated her sister. But when she goes to the hospital while they're doing the autopsy to make sure that it's her, she ends up meeting her sister's daughter, Asa Takumi. After Asa is sort of hoisted upon her for a brief moment, she takes her to a nearby diner where she realizes that Asa's not, grieving. She doesn't look sad. She's not crying or anything like that. But still, Makio tells her, don't worry about that. If you're not sad, don't worry about that. Eventually, you can kind of figure out your feelings, but don't feel that you're weird because you're not crying right now, which it seems like Asa really does appreciate this. Later on, Makio also suggests to her that, hey, you should probably write a journal. Write out your thoughts, what people are saying, what people don't say, what you're feeling, what you're not feeling, all that kind of stuff. It might help you out. Well, later on, we cut over to the funeral, and yes, all the different family members all gather together, and they all start bickering and gossiping about who's going to take Asa. There are even a lot of people claiming that Asa's not even the daughter of her mother. That kind of crap. Well, Makio, getting kind of frustrated with this, finally stands up and says, screw it. Asa, you can come live with me. I might not be able to show you love, but I'm not going to trample over your feelings. But you don't deserve to be around this wretchedness. You don't deserve to be thrown around by all these people deciding where you're going to live at. To which Asa actually agrees to it. She says, yes, I'll live with you. And so they get up and they walk out of the room. You don't want to eat this crappy tuna. Come with me. We're going to go somewhere else. Well, this is sort of a shocking thing to Makio herself because this is something that she would never normally do. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. She's got frustrated. In actuality, again, being an author, she's very secluded. She doesn't even like people living with her. She's not a good roommate. Her entire apartment is a mess. But still, it kind of seems like Asa, finds comfort in coming there. Well, that's why we're kind of focusing on 2 different stories here. From Asa's perspective, this daughter that has lost her mother and now living with her aunt, we're getting a sense that this girl is very lost. She's in this pit of loneliness. And that's definitely portrayed in the fact that every time she goes to write in this journal that she was recommended to do, she kind of finds herself isolated in a desert. Nothing around. Nobody. No mom, no dad, nothingness. And that's sort of also kind of coupled to the now living condition that she's in. This new strange land that she's now living in. And over here, there's this, the queen of this strange land sitting on her throne, typing away on her computer, writing all these books and everything. And there's sort of the sense that she finds comfort in this place, but at the same time, there's still this pit of loneliness. And this is definitely seen by Makio as she kind of describes that Asa's always kind of seemingly distant. She's mourning in her own way. She's constantly sleeping all the time. She's afraid of stirring her up to kind of force her to have to mourn over the situation. She kind of wants to give her that time to, find her sadness, get over this loss, find her own path going forward. From Makio's perspective, a lot of it is sort of her, again, kind of feeling scared that she decided to take this kid in. This kid is 15 years old. She just lost her parents. She's at this point in her life that's going to be pivotal for the rest of her life. She's afraid that anything that she says might, harm or misguide this girl. Again, this was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but at the same time, she couldn't allow it to happen. There's also the fact that Makio is constantly having to deal with sort of the ghosts of her past, and the fact that, again, she really hated Asa's mother. Really didn't like her. There's a lot of cutbacks to her being kind of spoken down to by her bigger sister. How she kind of mocked her over the fact that she was going to even write a book. All this kind of stuff. But still, the 2 of them are kind of finding comfort in each other. there's kind of a lot of, statements that Makio makes that Asa really appreciates, like the aspect of, don't find it weird that you're not sad. Don't let other people judge your emotions. That's your own business, that kind of stuff. And yes, there's this element that the two of them eventually will find some sort of emotional moments, and they'll, be there for each other. There's kind of agreements like that. Additionally, yes, Asa is doing very well to kind of keep Makio's house in order, because it's a pigsty at first, and it seems like Asa at some point learns how to cook so that she can cook some nice meals for Makio, so now she's eating much more healthier. The two of them are doing a good job of supporting each other. We also meet some other individuals, including Nana, who is a friend of Makio. She comes over, and the two of them just kind of bicker at each other constantly, and this is sort of very foreign to Asa. We also meet Shingo, who was a past boyfriend of Makio's, and she goes to him to sort of get a little bit of advice on how to support Asa going forward, getting her life insurance from the parents, all that kind of stuff. And that's sort of the gist of the story so far. And like I said before, absolutely loving this so far. Like I said before, within these first 2 episodes, actually within the first 9 minutes of the first episode, I was already getting emotional. Now, I will admit, a lot of that is from my own experience. Very quickly, when Asa is sitting in front of Makio, it's obvious that she's not reacting to this whole loss like normal people would. And I say normal people like that's sort of the status quo. You're supposed to cry when your parents die. Not that it's not normal you don't cry. That's exactly what Makio's saying. I was Asa at some point. This is what I'm saying. I was Asa at some point, where you have a loss that you should be crying for days for, but it doesn't hit you. There's something that happens around you that's keeping you from reacting to it, and you feel broken. But then, like Makio says, at some point, it hits. At some point, it hits. It's not that you're broken. It's not that you're wrong. It's not that you're weird. It's just that it hits everybody differently. Everybody reacts to loss differently. And that's something, again, within this first 9 minutes, seeing Asa sitting there, and she just wants to eat. She's eating. She's sitting there. She's not reacting. And Makio sees that. And she gives the right words, I think. In the end, it gives nice words. I do really love Makio's character. I think she's really fascinating in a lot of ways because, again, this is somebody that is chosen to isolate herself. It seems to indicate that she has chosen to isolate herself. She's not like a lot of other people. She doesn't have a lot of people at her house. The way that she kind of responds to things is a little bit off, but again, very logical. It seemed to give a lot of indication that Makio was sort of pushed out by her sister. Her sister didn't respect what she was doing. I have a theory already that potentially, like she's suggesting to Asa now, Makio at some point had wrote a book through a journal. Because at some point when she was telling Asa how to write, she says, don't worry about writing the truth. You can write whatever you want. Nobody's going to judge you. Write what you want to write. Don't write what you don't want to write. Don't force it. That kind of stuff. It seems to imply that she wrote something fictitious herself through a journal, probably about her experiences with her sister. And at some point, that probably became her actual book that she released later on. And even at the end of the second episode, Shingo tells Makio about how he likes this last line in her book. It's this point in which the character in the story was returning home, and she wasn't able to return home. She was, stumbling. Shingo said something to the effect of, did Ruby die, the character of the story? And she says, if I write another book, I will do that. It seems like the book pretty much ended with her wanting to return home. And there's even a line towards the later part that's something about the fact that, you weren't there. You weren't there when I returned home. It was too late, which implies that, I'm not sure if it was wrote and ended at the time, but it implies that she never got to see her sister again, that her sister passed away before she could say something that she wanted to say. So there's, again, already getting into the idea of Makio herself even having regrets. But I think that's probably what's going to be is Asa is now writing a journal similar to how Makio herself did. And so this was how she got over her troubles with her sister. And now she wants Asa to get over her loss of her family with her own journal, with her own story, that kind of stuff. Again, there's so much to go through, but it's not even crazy. Asa herself, I'm loving as well. Again, I relate a lot. Relate a lot with her kind of struggles with, mourning, finding some sort of peace. Again, sort of being trapped in a isolation, lost when you lose something. It's like this big part of your life just gets sucked out and it's gone. And I love how they portray that. I love when she goes to write her book the first time and she's got the lines there and it kind of pans over these straight lines of this journal. And eventually they start getting a little swervy. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just like a production mess up. Like when they were making the lines in the actual, printing factory, maybe something got stuck there and it got a little swivel. No, it starts to turn into waves of the desert. And now she's suddenly finding herself in the desert and everything is empty. There's nothing there. And it always kind of follows a statement. Yesterday, my mom and dad, and then it's just blank. It's like she's basically closed off her past. Everything about her mom, what happened there, it's like she herself in her mind doesn't want to accept it. And I think that's what it's sort of portraying there. Because every time she goes to write, every time she thinks about something, oh, what if mom used to cook me all the time back there? I think my home-cooked meals were good from mom. What does she cook? What was in it? She can't see it. I think what they're sort of portraying with Asa is, yes, right now she's in loneliness, she's in isolation, but also she herself is mentally blocking off her life. And again, I think that's a lot to do with not wanting to mourn. There's going to come a point when she finally remembers her mom and it's going to break her. There's something there and it's going to break her. And I think that is sort of portrayed in the idea that every time she goes to write, emptiness. Every time she thinks of her parents, stops. Silence. Nothing. No words. Just complete silence. She's trapped there. She's isolated. She can't think about what her family was to her. And that's going to be, again, I'm already knowing it's going to come, and it's going to be it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. Now, the big question mark that I have is really because of that isolation, I never really know what her mother was to her. It seemed to indicate at some point Asa makes a random remark about, coldness and whatnot between Makio and her. This idea of not being able to accept things and how her mother used to tell her that she should be able to handle it herself. There's like this kind of don't burden me too much kind of thing there. And I'm kind of wondering, was Asa's mother a good person? Did Makio's experience with her sister, was her sister a really bad person or just something that she kind of misread? I think it might be both. I think there might be a both aspect here where, yes, Makio's experience with her sister was bad, but yes, they probably could have fixed that bond. And we'll probably get that from Asa's perspective that potentially Asa's seen that her mother regretted what happened with her sister. There could be something there that they could essentially find, equal point to. And potentially Makio could herself finally mourn her sister as well when she realized that her sister wasn't the horrible person that she always thought she was. That there was something good there. Holy crap, I could keep yapping on and on about this show. I love it. Can you tell that I love this show when I just endlessly yap? Like, no stop. I'm going to just endlessly yap here. Interesting aspect about Nana, though. Nana is the friend of Makio. She respects Makio for the fact that she has brought in Asa, which I do really appreciate. Like, she goes, your life is going to change a lot, but I respect this. I respect that you're taking care of this girl. Just do what you need to do. Go to your ex-boyfriend, get advice from him, whatever you need to do in order to support this. You're going to need more money. She was great, though, because she comes in, and this is sort of the part where, again, I'm kind of curious about how much Asa sort of locks out of her life that she doesn't realize what she's experienced, is that when Makio and Nana are talking, they're having fun. And Asa's like, this is like a strange different language. And she even envisions like she's in another foreign land and these people are talking to each other, like in India or something like that. And they're talking a different language. It seems foreign to her because she's never seen parents or adults act that way. Never seen them kind of bickering, having fun. Which, yes, does sort of equate to the idea that her mother was probably potentially really, really strict. And again, she doesn't really truly recall it because she doesn't want to remember anything about her mom. But I did find that very interesting. That the two of them are having fun and they're goofing around. And Asa's just like, again, this is a strange land. It's not familiar to me. But again, technically a lot of what Asa's experiencing right now, living with Makio, is a strange land. A place that she's never experienced before. Because again, she has been ripped out of her normalcy into somebody else's house within a span of a night. Bam. My life's gone and now I'm here. How do I react to this? And I also love that Nana sort of facilitates Asa and Makio to talk about how other people perceive their issue. And the fact that, yes, Asa gets this text message from somebody basically saying, how are you doing? And Makio, in sort of her knowledge about words and whatnot, has sort of come to the conclusion that her friend is going out of her way to sort of be very careful about her words and asking Asa, are you okay? I learned about what happened. Are you okay? It was a really kind of little sweet moment there. But anything else, I can yap on and on about this show. I'm actually very much so considering covering this show on a weekly basis because there's so much to dive into here. There's a lot of stuff that I relate to in certain ways. Like, again, the idea of not wanting to mourn, sort of secluding yourself and all this kind of stuff. I think it's got a lot in here to really kind of dig into so far. If it keeps to this, I could easily see this going down as one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm loving it that much. I am kind of curious if Makio at some point could potentially get back with Shingo. They did kind of imply some sort of understanding in their conversation. Shingo obviously kind of upset that it seems like Makio never wanted to have children. Always said that, but yet now she's adopted somebody. But he did say at some point that I'm not going to push us to get back together. It seems like he sort of accepted it, but I could totally see it kind of going back the other direction. It seems like he does want to meet Asa. So I would like to see, he seems like an okay guy so far. It doesn't seem like they're in bad terms with each other. I can see Shingo and Makio taking care of Asa, raising her. That would be really cool. It does seem like he really respects her and really does like her work. Kind of pointing her in the direction that she needs to go. But anyways, I'm going to get back into it. That's my thoughts so far on Journal with Witch. Absolutely loving it. Absolute cinema. Cannot wait for more. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, hit the like button down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know, is this pushing you to go watch it and you haven't watched it yet? Or have you watched it already and you're absolutely loving it as well? Or did you watch it and you didn't like it? Let me know in the comments down below. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, y'all take care.